The night began quietly, deceptively ordinary, the kind of evening that felt routine but carried an undercurrent of tension I didn't yet recognize. Lisa, my wife, told me she was going out with friends for a casual night of drinks and laughter. Her voice carried its usual cheer, a lightness I wanted to believe. But in her eyes, I caught something different, an evasive flicker, a brief hesitation that didn't match her words. I watched her pass, her coat brushing against my arm, her smile forced and just a little too wide, pretending everything was fine. Something inside me tightened. Still, I told myself to trust her, to believe in the woman I loved. I had no idea that night would mark a turning point in our lives. Hours passed, and the house grew quieter with each tick of the clock. I tried to tell myself she was just enjoying herself, that late-night outings were normal for her friends. But doubt crept in like a shadow, relentless and cold. I called once, twice, sent messages, but nothing. Dinner remained untouched, my mind replaying her leaving, imagining her laughter mingling with others while I sat alone, waiting. Tension built with every passing minute. Sleep was impossible. I kept replaying every detail. How she avoided my gaze, moved as though I didn't exist. Something felt very wrong, and deep down, I feared I already knew the truth. Then, around midnight, a call from one of her friends shattered the fragile hope I'd been clinging to. Hesitantly, they told me they had seen Lisa with another man at a local bar. Too close, laughing too freely, entirely engrossed in him. My chest tightened, a storm of disbelief, betrayal, and simmering anger threatening to erupt. Every instinct screamed at me to rush there, confront them, make her feel the consequences. Yet I remained calm, surprising even myself. Losing control would have only given her the power she thought she had. Instead, I made a decision that would change the night. I would stay silent, let her face away her own choices, and allow her actions to speak louder than any words of mine ever could. When she returned, the air around her felt different, heavy with exhaustion, laughter still lingering on her lips. I didn't rush to greet her, didn't demand explanations, didn't reach for her coat. I stood silently, watching her try to maintain composure, to hide the evidence of her night. She forced a weak smile, a shadow of the confident, teasing woman who had left hours ago. My silence hit harder than any words could. Her eyes darted nervously, realizing the confrontation she expected. The yelling, the accusations, was not coming. Instead, there was only calm, steady resolve, and the weight of her choices settling over her like a stone. Hours passed. The tension of the night turned into a quiet, suffocating routine. I went about my own activities, making it clear with every movement that her actions had consequences she could no longer ignore. She tried repeatedly, knocking at the door, calling my phone, sending frantic messages, slipping notes under the door, each more desperate than the last. I ignored them all. The silence became a mirror for her, forcing her to confront her mistakes without distraction or denial. Each unanswered call, each ignored knock, emphasized the gravity of her betrayal far more than anger or shouting ever could. Finally, late in the afternoon, the phone rang. Her name lit up the screen. My hand hovered over it, tension coiling in my chest. Through the digital barrier, I could feel her desperation. I answered. Her voice was trembling, raw and fragile. Please talk to me. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I made a mistake. I just need you to listen. Her words struck like a storm after hours of silence, control, and quiet judgment. The full weight of her guilt, fear, and regret poured into my ears. Yet I stayed silent, letting her voice carry the truth and consequences she had long tried to avoid. She began confessing everything, her drinks, her laughter, the flirtation that had escalated, the texts she hoped I'd never see. Her voice shook as she recounted moments of excitement, carelessness, recklessness, her pride stripped away in real time. I listened quietly, letting the enormity of her actions resonate in the stillness. Each revelation chipped away at her facade. I saw panic, shame, and the unmistakable fear of someone realizing too late that their choices had real consequences. I didn't interrupt. I didn't scold or yell. I simply let her words, full of regret and desperation, illustrate the weight of her actions. By the end, she was sobbing, broken, begging for forgiveness she didn't deserve. And in that moment, I understood the full power of silence. It forced her to confront herself, to see the real cost of what she had done. No yelling, no confrontation, just truth, patience, and measured authority, letting her feel the consequences firsthand. After the call ended, I sat alone, reflecting. I wasn't explosively angry, as she may have expected. I was shattered, yes, but also clear and resolute. Her desperation revealed the depth of her betrayal and the fragility of our trust. She had tried to manipulate the situation, but my silence and refusal to react emotionally had completely turned the tables. That night became a lesson in control, patience, and letting someone's actions speak for themselves. Sometimes, the quietest response carries the heaviest consequences. The next morning, she arrived at the house, humbled and terrified, expecting immediate forgiveness. I remained calm, letting her see the weight of what she had done. Every apology, every plea, every tear hung in the quiet air, forcing her to face her mistakes and the destruction they caused. That night, she learned what it meant to be powerless and desperate, the exact state she had put me in countless times before. And as I looked at her, broken and remorseful, I understood. True strength lies not in anger, but in measured silence, control, and letting the consequences speak for themselves.